period students. All right, guys, listen up. So I have confirmed that we only have one more day of Latin, unfortunately, this week. Tomorrow will be the last day of Latin. Unless I guess I'll miraculously are like, finishing the test. Someone say yay. Unnecessary. Just like totally unnecessary. Unless I'll finish the test tomorrow, on Thursday really quickly. Thursday and Friday will be set aside for the reading portion or the English. It's called English portion, the more grammar part of the standardized test y'all are taking. So y'all can think of today as like a Thursday as far as Latin goes. Adrian, do you have your word chart out? Keaton, Andrew, it's on the white table. Extra copies are, but I handed them out yesterday, and y'all are old enough to be more than organized to hold on to those. And I would, I'm tempted almost to say, like, I'm telling other classes if I know you to get straight A's on your vocab quizzes, you might not have as many as other people or need as many to get full credit. I want pretty much everyone to have 4 or 5 by, as of now, because of the weird testing thing, like Tuesday, the end of Tuesday, I think. Because, you're not going to have Thursday or Friday to add any words. I want you to be honest about it and not write words down unless you truly don't know them. I don't think that should be a problem for anyone, 2.5 or 1.5, like former 1.5 kids. Because, like I said yesterday, 2.5 kids not being able to kind of keep track of the majority of the vocab words is the main reason I've been comfortable with this weird, slightly awkward kind of like soft reset. Sarah? Yes, go get that. What? Hey, actually, Andrew, there's water, whatever. There's like paper towel. I mean, I guess you use tissues. It depends on how much it is. But there's like paper towel things. You can open that bag if it's not open. Does anybody have? Yes, Cami. Yeah. Hurry up, guys. Yeah. As for second period kids, if you're hearing this, which you should be, I guess I'd like y'all to do that too. Hopefully you understand that, and if you need to take one more day on it, that's fine, obviously. But yeah, the word chart on the white table, you should be filling out as you go through these videos. Yeah. There's a couple exceptions. There's like 2 or 3 kids here where like y'all might not know most words, right? All right, Alyssa, what did we go over yesterday? It's my favorite things. Yes, exactly. Chapter 17, which is when things start getting pretty juicy and cool. Remember, there will be, so the things that were planned for Thursday and Friday this week, Sarah, will be on Tuesday and Wednesday next week, because we have a wonderful opportunity to observe Martin Luther King Day on Monday, and we will not be coming in. So you guys are going to take this test on chapter 15, 16 vocabulary on Wednesday with 1 sentence from the homework that is due tomorrow. It's a hybrid quiz, and not only is it a hybrid between a translation and a vocab quiz, it also is reaching from 3 different chapters in like different ways. So it's kind of confusing, but any questions about that, Sarah? I'm going to start giving out warnings for detention. Lucy?
So is the quiz tomorrow or next week?
It's next week on Wednesday, right? Since we don't have Monday, like this Thursday's plan, I should like make the slide for tomorrow. Will happen on Tuesday, and this will happen on Wednesday. Okay. Again, the test is very kind of like a weird specific thing, so that's why I wanted to make sure that everyone hears me and I'm saying that. Guys, please don't start failing Latin because you think it's really easy or something. All right, Thursdays, Friday, those are test days. Homework is due tomorrow. Those are the chapter 15 words. Not too bad, not too many, because that is the chapter where you get cardinal numbers. I'll throw in a couple of numbers. And here are the third declension nouns, or chapter 16. Okay. Let me just get way ahead. All right. Okay. I already have some crazy ideas for our Myth Monday and Reception Studies Monday next week, but it will technically be a Tuesday. I'm holding back. I'm not going to talk about any video games or anime today. Remember we were talking about relative clauses. If you don't at this point, stop talking. That's your first warning for detention. And you should have something on your desk. People will get warned if they don't take something out on their desk. Remember, guys, this is not, that's not my kind of style to teach, but like some of y'all are just being way too passive in here. So Elena and Sarah need to get something out really immediately. Do you have a question, Elena? So 2 sheets should be out on your desk, the reading and the noun chart. Okay, so remember, chapter 17, this is when the textbook starts to get really kind of awesome to me and like kind of like interesting, and sentences become these more kind of interesting puzzles instead of like more kind of straightforward like the subject, verb, verbs, the noun, or the direct object. So we have qui, qui, quod here. That's how we're going to refer to this pronoun. It's kind of the last big pronoun you get, and it's the only one that's not on the board. So though that board seems overwhelming, we have demonstrative, hic, and illa, and we have first, second, and third person personal pronouns. Words like I, we, you, y'all, he, she, it, they. Those aren't too bad. These are words that are going to translate to who, which, that, if they're nominative. Whose or of which, if it's genitive. Let's just add that right now. And then whom, if it's dative, accusative, or objective. Or ablative, I mean. If it's one of what we call the object cases or objective cases, is the word we use in English. Because English does technically have 3 cases, but really only for pronouns. So, qui, qui, quod. We talked about how those endings, at least for masculine and feminine, don't worry about too much. The neuter ones, they look sort of like first and second intention plural. Huius has that classic pronoun I-U-S for genitive, so you'll always know to translate it as whose or of which. Hui or qui, let's say qui, I like qui better. That's one of the bird noises that I think the Polish people will say is a bird noise. Means it's going to be like to whom, if it's about a person, or to which. Quim, quam, quod, those look pretty accusative. Again, don't worry about qua too much. But quim and quam look accusative to me. And then quo and qua, those macrons over the O and the A, sure do look ablative. I don't know if we talked about the plurals, which looks, but these genitive plurals, they're more recognizable as genitive than even huius because they have the classic second and first declension endings there. And then quibus for dative and ablative plural. Those sure do look what declension, ablative and dative? Anyone? That ibis. Oh no, I forgot to do the template. Okay, we're gonna do the template tomorrow, guys. But they look very third declension-y. That ibis, right? That ibis ending. Okay, so let's do a couple more examples, and then we're gonna look back. Oh yeah, we never started the reading, but I did hand it out, right? Okay. That reading won't actually have relative clauses, which is kind of strange. So let's do 2 more examples of these. That reading's from the previous chapter, but I want to do a little more practice on that. And then the homework that y'all did or are doing, which is just 3 sentences, that will be where we actually get to apply the relative clause stuff. But let's see. So I think maybe we're starting to look at this 4th one. Maybe. Yeah, the boy whose father we helped. Iuvo, iuvare. 1.5 kids are like, oh, yet another verb I don't recognize. We probably, maybe none of us recognize that one. It shows up in chapter 4, and it's pretty rare, and I don't think it's fun to say, so that, I think, adds to a word not sticking in our mind. But if you want to add iuvo, iuvare, a first conjugation verb that means to help, to the middle section of your word thing. I forget what I'm calling it, weekly word blog. You can do that. I will write it out for you because I want to see actual dictionary entries in those word blogs. I don't want to see like just iuvabamas means we helped. Like that's okay, but I'd rather you say iuvo, iuvare to help. First conjugation, no related words. So that one says okay to have no related words. The bottom section of that log, almost no prepositions, adverbs, and conjunctions have related words, but nouns, verbs, and adjectives usually will. There are exceptions. And when I say prepositions, that's kind of wrong because some prepositions in Latin turn into wholesale words in English, like in, or they turn into, what else? What do a lot of Latin prepositions turn into in English? Think of words like ex, or sub, or kind of post. Anyone? Not prepos, or, well, yeah, that's what they are, but more like prefix. Yeah, they kind of turn into a lot of them like kind of just morph into prefixes, meaning like they're not words unto themselves. In is, but they become like, something you can add to the front of a word. Okay, let's do 2 more basically. This is our last 2 chances to practice relative clauses before we check your homework tomorrow. And then even then, that's only 3 examples, but maybe we'll do some exercises as well. So vitam, meam, comitam, eis, viris, coram, virtutes, laudabas. I'm going to go around in a very sequential linear order, starting with Bailey. So Bailey, what is our relative clause here? Starting with coram? Yeah. So this one's another one that's very easy to tell. Whether the comma was there or not, it probably would be easy. It won't always be that easy. For one thing, the comma could not, maybe wouldn't be there, but also like we could copy and paste coram to laudabas and kind of stick it somewhere in here if we wanted to, and like that would make it even harder. That kind of thing will happen. Imagine number 4, for instance, without commas. That's kind of nasty. But you like that's really the most important thing this chapter. And going forward, these relative clauses will kind of phase out a little bit after chapter 17. They don't show up quite as much, which makes me sad because I like them so much. But you really want to be able to isolate them from the main clause. So even if the commas weren't here, the way to do that is usually going to be you start with the thing that is the qui, qui, quod. In this case, it's the genitive cuius, and you go until the verb. Because relative clauses have their own verb, and they have their own grammar separate from the main clause. The main clause is just the boy is brave, but it has a relative clause in it that makes it a little more complex. In descriptive, the boy whose father we helped is brave. So it has its own verb, it has its own direct object, and in this case, the relative clause happens to be genitive with a nominative antecedent. Antecedent is just the unnecessarily fancy-sounding word for the thing that the relative clause is referring back to. Any questions on that so far? Remember, don't get bogged down in like grammar jargon. It's like the man from Italy was my dad. What's the relative clause of that sentence that I just said? If you can remember it, Cami. The man from Italy. No, sorry. Let me rephrase it. The man who was from Italy is my dad. What's the relative clause? It's not up here. Sorry, I'm just like talking. Maybe it's better to ask what's the main clause. It's probably just too hard because it's not on the board. I can flip back to that. But anyone, what's the main clause of the man who is from Italy is my dad? The man is my dad. Yeah, just the man is my dad. When you like take just the main clause out of these sentences, they usually sound kind of like overly simple, and that's why they probably have relative clauses. Is because like if they just stood on their own, it'd be like, what kind of sentence is this? It's like not like who would talk like this with such a little amount of information. The relative clause adds more information. So the man who was from Italy is my dad. The relative clause is smack dab in the middle. The relative pronoun is who, and the antecedent of said relative clause is what? Anyone? Just to be clear real quick, Allie. The man who is from Italy is my dad. So who is a relative clause? It's antecedent, meaning the thing it refers back to that's in the main clause is just the man. Yeah. Sorry, that's even hard for me to like to not have like a visual component and just be like talking and asking grammar questions about a sentence I'm saying. That's weird. Okay, anyway, let's look at actual examples that are on the board in Latin. Does anybody know what comitto committera is? Easier than you think. That's the third word there. That is our verb. I know it doesn't look like it, right? Especially when it's next to these accusative first declension nouns. It looks like it's like going with them or something, but it can mean commit or entrust. Entrust is maybe a little better. Commit feels like lazy, like it's almost too easy. Can anybody describe to me what person and number it is, though? This is probably too hard for someone like in the 1.5. Lucy?
It's first person, singular, and future.
Yes, and I have the chart that shows this later, but remember, this is my least favorite ending of third and fourth conjugation verbs when they are first singular future tense. So it's going to mean like I will and trust. Yeah, that is like around the part of the book that 1.5 kids, y'all started to like speed up, and so y'all didn't quite get the chance to get used to those. But if you remember chapter 5, we learned bo bis bit is font for the first and second conjugation verbs, and ace x, amos, aces, mostly these e-centric verbs. Sometimes it's ie for the fourth conj. That's how they get future tense, and I don't like them. But so, okay, I will entrust, and yeah. So some people in previous classes have it. There's a moment in the slides coming up where I'll give you a big dump of words that you can add to your log, but you should be doing this whole time. One of the purposes of this is not just giving more busy work, but so you can engage more. If you're like just hanging out, like everyone knew, I mean, no one seemed to know what commitro was, so y'all should probably be adding to the, maybe loose. But Keaton?
What does clementimia mean?
Thank you. That means clemency or mercy. You say mercy. Clemency is like a fancy word for that. Where is that?
It's in the house.
Oh, okay. So you can add clementia clementii to the top of your noun chart, and its first declension, feminine, and a related word is clemency, which means mercy. But yeah, if you're not adding words, that's really weird to me because this will be a real grade.
I never had the sheet.
Okay. High energy, guys. Come on. Like, don't be. Vitam meum committam. I will entrust. What is the direct object? What are we going to entrust, Chloe or Allie? So we're looking at 5, and we realize committam is actually a verb. It means I will entrust. And what are we going to trust? We're going to trust a direct object. So where's a direct object nearby? Weary. No, this long is is either going to be ablative or dative plural. If we're looking for direct object, what case would that be, Sadie? Oh, so no, that's fine. Yeah, it'd be accusative. So what could be accusative here, Sadie? And this is good old like chapter 1 or chapter 2 type stuff. Sarah, what could be accusative near committam? Guys, ask your parents for like tea, like a bottle of tea or something. Or coffee? No, coffee's not healthy, but I don't know.
My mom stopped by.
Go to sleep at 9.
It made me really sad.
It gets dark so early during the winter. Y'all should just be going to sleep at 8:30, like you're like a really old person, until maybe March, and then you can. Huh?
I don't have time for that. I am busy like on the other side of town until 8:30.
Well.
And then it's a 40-minute drive back here. And then I have to eat dinner. So I don't get to bed until 10 every night.
Well, it sounds like Lucy has extracurricular overload, but what is everyone else's excuse? Some of y'all playing Switch, huh? Oh, okay. I thought the sports were happening less so late, but anyway, yeah. So what? Weary. No. So that's what Alyssa just said too. It's okay. Elena? Like I said, I'm trying to go in like a linear thing. Yeah. Right. Well, ma'am is an adjective. It's going with what, Kaden? Yeah, Vitam, right? So, okay. So I'll click through eventually, I promise. But it's going to be like, I will entrust my life. Again, don't know Vita Vitae. That is life. What are some related words for Vita Vitae, Daniel or Braden? What are some related words for Vita Vitae? Or anyone. Related words. Huh? Yeah, vital. What do you take in the morning? You take your Flintstone. Yeah, and like, yeah, that's about it, right, Keaton? And what declension is Vita Vitae, Keaton? I promise I'll write out the whole. I'll be glad to write it out. I just don't want to do it if y'all like insist that it's actually a word you know. No, not case. What declension? First, second, or third? Vita Vitae. No. Anyone? It's just good old first. So these are things. These are reasons. I promise I'll stop saying this as of right now. This is the last time I say this. But the fact that Keaton hears me say what declension is Vita Vitae, I'm not trying to call you out at all. This is a thing that happens for a lot of, and you're not able to quickly say that's first declension. That's why it's like okay that we had to go back or whatever. I'll never say that again. I promise. Like, I know you're saying that because I'm trying to convince myself it was the right decision. But yeah, guys, these red endings that are mostly A based, that's first declension, right? Things don't get weird until the third declension. First, nominatives end in A. This mark is bad, and AE. Second, they end in US. R or UM if they're neuter, and then in the genitive long I, and then third, it's the question mark. We don't know how the nominative is going to end, and the IS. And third declension basically explains to us why Latin noun dictionary entries give us both the nominative and the genitive. Because looking at the nominative, we actually can't know for sure what declension it is, because technically anything could be third. It's not really anything, but it's like more than 10 possibilities. It's when you look at the genitive that you know for sure. So I know you don't see the genitive there, but like AM, That never happens in the third declension. EM happens in the third declension. Anyway, do you get it, Keaton? Be honest. No, like for real though, for real.
I'm actually good with Latin, but when you put me on the spot, I'm not good.
No, that's the thing too. That's the thing. Yeah, sometimes you're not like if you're called on in class, you're not answering to your full capacity. But then also, to me, that makes sense in a really big class where someone's kind of shy. You don't strike me as a shy person. You like know everyone in here like really well, so it's a small class.
Yeah, you're not.
Just saying.
I've taken Latin for 5 years. I know a good amount of Latin. I'm just not good on the spot at all.
You're good at Latin. You could be great though. You could be great. So okay, I will entrust my life. So what do we do with eis viris, which I'm just gonna say eis is horrible. I hate it. It'd be like these men. We're gonna treat eis like it's his or illis, like it's a demonstrative. If it was all by itself, it would be to them. But because it has a buddy, it's a horrible rule. I think it's my least favorite rule. And this is another thing that the book kind of phases out. But because it has a buddy in the same case of number, you don't want to say to them, comma, men. You want to just say these men. And it's like such a weird rule. But I will entrust my life to these men. What case is quorum, Braden or Daniel? At quorum.
Oh, I shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. So how should we translate it? Because we're talking about sometimes we're talking about a person, maybe men, maybe. So should we do whose or of which or who or whom? Yeah, whose because it's genitive. So whose is the way we make that possessive in English. So so I will entrust my life to these men whose anyone? I love virtues. Who praised? What person, Luke, is laudabas? First, second, or third? Or just don't even tell me that. Who praised? Whose virtues, I, you, or it praised? Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Whose virtues you praised? So quorum here is our relative clause. Again, it's quite an easy one to identify. I mean, it looks like a quite. It's not one of the ones that start with C randomly, and it's after a comma, and it's the whole second half of the sentence. So there should be no like difficulty there. It would be way harder if it was like, I will entrust to these men whose virtues you praise my life. That would be a much nastier sentence if the Latin syntax actually reflected that. And then the antecedent of whose, what is the antecedent of whose? Adrian. Like maybe get 5-hour energies? I actually, no, those are probably bad for you.
Yeah.
But I think Red Bull is weirdly like not that bad for you. Like you'd think
Just eat a butt ton of sugar.
maybe, but then sugar you crash. The idea with 5 hours is that you can count on 5 hours before a crash. But sugar you get hyper and then you die.
You don't want to give me much. You won't like
I think it's something that happens to adults. Like I'll be tired, but like it doesn't usually reflect. On Friday, I was not sleeping last week. Like I'm not like super awake now, but like I mean I have to do my job. This is what I'm paid to, so it's not like I'm gonna be like, well, sorry guys, I'm gonna put my head down. I've borderline done that before. Okay, what is the antecedent, Adrian? Of whose? Are we talking about if we're looking at the first part, because the antecedent is not in the relative clause. The relative clause has a relative pronoun. It refers back to the main clause, one of the nouns in the main clause. Are we referring to life, to the I as the subject, or to the men? You said men? Yeah, it'd be to the men. You just kind of have to infer that. There's no like specific way to tell, because remember, the relative pronoun can be any case, but it is reflecting the number and the gender of its antecedent. So viris is, in this case, dative, plural, masculine, and this is masculine and plural, but it's genitive. All right, last one, and then we're going to look at a little bit of reading for the rest of class. It's going to be great. It's an exciting one that has to do with the ancient literature class that you guys will take next year. I hope y'all learn how to be very energetic during that class so that you kind of give Miss Jamboree something to work with. So she's not like pulling teeth constantly. Timeo idem periculum quod timatis. I want to teach ancient literature again, sort of, but I'd rather teach my mythology class that I hope to happen. It does sound awesome. At first, I wasn't sure, but the more I think about it, I'm like, ooh, I hope that does happen. Because it's not just Greek, it's like world mythology. It's like Japan, China, the Americas, Scandinavian. I mean, incredible. It's going to be great. Indian, Hindu stuff. Babylonian. This first part, easy, but let's make sure we have the vocab. I'm seeing I am sorry. I'm like almost the naggiest with you guys. But I'm seeing some people, 1.5 people specifically, that aren't writing down as many words as I think. Like, Brayden, do you know what tomato means? It'd be crazy if you did. Huh? Not tomato. I just can't hear it. Andrew, do you know what tomato means? Good guess, honestly. Tempest and porous is time. So it's what, Parker and Lizzie? It's, yeah, in this case, it's who fears? And so, like Andrew and Brayden and probably Sarah, like I hate to single you guys out because it's such a broken record kind of thing. But like write it down, do something to try to like get it. And also now you're partly done with the verb section that's going to be due on Tuesday. What does it mean? That's a good question. I'll just do the two principal parts because I didn't give John a room yet. It means to what? They already said it, to fear. And it's what conjugation 1.5 is. If it's tomato, tomary. First conj is are. Second is long eri. Second. And then third is short eri. And anyway, I put a macron over the e. So, all right. So I fear it. And what is that? I think it means like the same, right? Cammy? My bad. Should have called on you. So I fear the same what, Cammy? Good. So I fear the same danger. Periculum is what case, Andrew? Is it nominative or accusative there with that um? Because it's neuter, so it could be either. It is, good, because the subject is I, so it can't be the subject. So I fear the same danger. Quode. What do we think, Parker? Is quode going to be which, that, or who? It could probably be two. Yeah, it could probably be which or that. I don't think we would refer to danger as who, unless it's like capital D danger, like the like a god personification of dangers. Wait, it was empty? Yeah, don't throw it away. You just like ruined that gown. Well, honestly, Andrew, you know what? Well, I don't know. What? Well, that is gross, but you know what is also gross? The fact that we've been using the same one all year. Like, that's already gross. Guess what, guys? I know what to do. For some reason, my mom forced me to drive home from Louisiana with this like big water thing that's just in my trunk because she thought my engine might blow up or something. It's in there still. It froze, I saw, but I'm gonna get it out. I'm gonna bring it up here, and that'll be the new gallon, and it'll be less nasty because it's never been opened. But yeah, I mean, that was a good thing, honestly. I cannot believe we have not spread the pandemic through that 1 gallon alone. Like, I mean, and I do go down to the kitchen and I rinse it out pretty good. But like, I don't know if you can get really hot. Yeah, I don't know if you can get really hot water out of the lounge faucet. So it's not like I'm like boiling it, and even if you did, it would melt because it's a milk jug. Anyway, they should have got us like nice. We should have like water coolers or something. I don't know. That'd be really expensive. That's
open up the little freaking like they don't have their vote. They can like get rid of the actual like mouth water part. They can keep the actual water bottle part. So we don't have to think that other people's water bottles have been touching the tip of this freaking thing.
Right. And the gallons are definitely worse than just letting us use the water fountain, right? And I will say, like, I was careful of that. I was like trying to be as clean as possible. But the thing about the top of a gallon, it's like it's almost hard to get that weird little tiny rubber top off. With that, I was like, what if I'm touching the lip of it a little bit? Maybe I just put sanitizer on my hands, but like that's bad too. And I had this hand sanitizer on the lip of the. Yeah, and I still don't understand. This will be the end of the digression. At the beginning of the year, when we heard about the water fountain, I was like, oh, okay, I guess that sounds like that makes sense. We were like, could you leave the water bottle thing going? Yeah. Miss Wilson, she said this twice. She tried to explain. I couldn't understand. She was like, yeah, but like, well, some water bottles, like mine's is so tall that like actually, I couldn't tell what she was saying. Like it touches the top and I was like, well, you need to angle it, or like definitely don't ever let the top of your water bottle touch the thing, even when it's not a pandemic. Like, it didn't sound like a good. Maybe it was a code thing. I don't know. But yeah, like turn off the water fountain part, keep the thing going. We all win. But instead, we all lost. So now we have to drink water out of this hand sanitizer bottle. I'll recycle that and fill it with water. No, I will get the thing out of my trunk. That's just the name. So, all right, guys, that was our digression. That was our moment of communal digression and hilarity. Wasn't that funny? But I fear the same danger, which, says Parker, tomatus, which what, Keaton or Andrew or Lucy?
Oh, no, I want tomatus.
I fear the same danger, which you fear, right? Because it's the same verb. It's just the person switches over. Because Bailey, what person is Tomatus? Do I still have to show what person verb is? I guess maybe. Because at first it's first person singular, so that's why it's I fear the same danger. Then it's which you fear, because then it switches to. You said what person? No. This was first person, right? So stop talking over there. I'm kind of like noisy the whole time. So this is first person.
I wasn't even talking.
Remember, Bailey. Oh my gosh. Okay, Maddie. That is Maddie's favorite thing to do. She loves. Oh my. Wait. This is weird. And she also sits there with her back to the wall. Whoa, like brother, like sister. And every time I call her and Laura out, she's like, "I was not talking." It's like, I don't care. I need your whole zone to chill. Okay. Anyway, that was just hilarious. To me, I fear the same danger which you fear. Remember, Bailey, you're probably just forgetting the very simple OST, right? OST, 1, 2, 3. Does that ring a bell? Be honest. Okay, so yeah, it's second person, the fight switches over to third. So yeah, that's one thing I want all of us to be on the same page about, is just the basic OST must ascend, right? I think we should probably be there. So anyway, this one's pretty straightforward. The relative clause is just quo tomatis. It's a very short one. Relative clauses will always have a verb, but the only thing they have to have is the relative pronoun and the verb. That's all they like need to have. And that's, so this is the bare minimum. This relative pronoun is referring back to what? Anyone? What's its antecedent? The fancy word. The which is referring back to what? To I, to the same, or danger? And then danger. Alyssa, you're gonna say that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do you have to fill out the entire page?
No. So I was thinking, like, for real, like Andrew and Keaton, like y'all are the ones consistently being distracting, like I can't focus. So please, just, like, do y'all need to like finish addressing something, and then we can like count on you? Like, what are y'all like discussing? What do y'all need to acknowledge? What is that? I know, I see you're holding. What is it? Is that a YMCA thing? Yeah. Well, look, if you want to trade it in for a Peppa Pig sticker, I can probably offer you a few, because it looks like, I'm in the business collecting stickers. All right. So let's see. To answer your question, 4 or 5. I'm looking for 4 or 5 in each section. And then there might be overflow. So be honest about it. Don't write ones you actually know. Wait for the ones you don't know. Write all of the ones you don't know. Don't just like pick and choose. Like, I don't know that one, but I don't feel like asking. And then he doesn't have a dictionary entry up here, up there. So just like always stop me, because there's something to do. Right? It's like another thing to do other than just like bug you guys about the case and number of things. The good thing about 17 is the vocab is slight. What is that? Like 10 words? A little more maybe. So I'll sneak in a quick vocab quiz, maybe even at the end of next week. Meaning I'll take like the bigger quiz on 15, 16, and 17 on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then this maybe Friday, just real quick, because like this, I would pick 5 of them, and it'd be like the easiest quiz ever. And then we'll be on 18, and we will slow down again. So our first full week, since I already had this speech with you, we didn't have a full week last week. It was 4. Not a full week this week because of the testing. It's 3 days, and not next week because it's 4 days. So the first full week will be when we finally actually get back to a more like smooth, linear 2-week per chapter kind of thing with chapter 18. And perhaps I'll force the 2.5 kids to teach the passive voice. Okay. All right. I think it's easy, but a lot of y'all have a lot of trouble on. Okay. All right. Let's look at his Achilles reading for the rest of class. I'm not gonna let y'all not translate for the rest of class. Cami, could you read this first sentence? And this is where you're going to get a lot of words for your vocab log. Very good. Okay, so we have some names here. Achilles and his mom Thetis, who is third declension. Those are glossed. Also, by the way, I'm telling every class, I realize this is the default color when you click on the speech bubble thing to come up on the program. But I realize, did I already say this? I realized it makes it kind of illegible. So I'm going to start using light blue, because it makes it way more easy to read. Like that's, even from here, like the blue is too dark. So anyway, don't add Achilles and Thetis to your words thing. I don't think you quite need those. But etium is a conjunction. Even I sometimes get mixed up with altim, however. And then there's almost like a phrase you could maybe add to none of the sections, but like maybe to the right and just like the blank space. So Achilles, and then when I see non-solum said etium, Bailey, Cami, or Chloe, does that ring a bell? That's a very specific construction. Non solum sed etiam. I feel like we saw it pretty recently. Not alone's okay, but maybe a little better is not. Yeah, so Achilles not only, and we probably need a verb. So and then sed etiam is but also. So that is, I hate writing so much. Well, for one thing, it's like a bad marker, and my handwriting is malformed. Okay, non solum. Sed etiam. It's like not only but also. So it's just nice to be able to like look at that and quickly know. Like it just gives you like a almost a structure with which to place the rest of the sentence onto, or something like foundation. It's like a structural kind of thing. So Achilles not only, and we need a verb before we get to the but also. Where is our verb, Chloe or Alyssa? This is kind of a big old sentence, but the verb is where you want it to be, honestly. It just takes a while to get to it. Alyssa? Yeah, it is Iraq. So it's all the way at the end. So that was almost like a trick question because it was like the most obvious answer. It's not like before. It looks like maybe there's two parts of the sentence, but it actually is just one big sentence. Iraq is the imperfect tense of anyone out loud. So let's add this. And so, you know, if you actually wanted to add this verb to your verb section, you would add sum essa to be. But like that's, I don't think that would help you here. What you should add, what is erat the past tense version of anyone? You're thinking of arrow errare with two R's to wander. No, it's the past tense of est. So you might want to add est and then erat in the same line, whereas est is, erat is was. Let's check on how people are doing. So Luke is napping. Adrian is maybe fine. He's like yawning, which means he has a lot. Sarah has returned to her book. She's very subtle, very subtle. It's like somehow. I must have hallucinated that you look kind of like you were awkwardly checking your phone or a book inside of your desk. Est is, erat is was. So y'all can totally tell that it says was, right? Really good handwriting.
It says word on E.
Right. Is that an S?
I don't know why. I feel like all English teachers have terrible handwriting.
No, like it's fair. Mine's just like when I want it to be okay. I mean, it's not great over there, but if I'm like trying, it's fine. But like in the middle of class while I'm talking and I'm at a weird angle, it's
so bad that I
nasty.
can't read it, but
No, you could say it. It's nasty. It's weird. Okay, but est is, erat is was, and then maybe in the same line, erit is like it will. Not necessarily. I don't know why I'm deciding to put it for the future tense one. I'm just saying it's third person. So that's sumessa. You gotta know those like yesterday. All right. So anyway, Achilles not only was what? Does anyone want to wrap it up? We're loosely on Sadie, but does anyone want to kind of like sort of do the rest of this one? Lucy?
Achilles was not only a strong and powerful man, but he was also the son of the god.
Good. Okay. Eyes up here because none of this is too hard, but there's like a lot going on. So Bailey, Achilles was not only a man, a strong and brave man, potens quack, so like strong and brave, but even the son of Thetis, and then let me click through so y'all can see what's going on here. It might not look like it. Oh, the goddess Thetis, I left that out. The goddess Thetis, Lucy did not leave that out. I said capable or yeah. There's a lot of options here, but Thetis is that her name is third declension, so that's the way third declension genitive, and then Dei is good old first declension genitive. You don't know that Dei means goddess in the first declension. Write it on the thing. Anything else? These are brand new third declension adjectives, so that's kind of just a vocabulary thing. They don't really look like it, but they're both nominative. Remember, a lot of these adjectives in the third declension, they end in is in the nominative and the genitive, so, you know, whatever. These are genitive. And then words like weir and filius, those are just nominative to match with Achilles. Because sumesse, meaning to be, right, that verb, doesn't take a direct object. It just takes what we call a predicate nominative. It's almost like an equal sign. Like the student is good. Just keep this as a bonus, or bonus is an adjective, but like the student as a student, Scipulus. Cammy? Well, maybe there's an alternate spelling where you can just do one S. No, yeah, I should do the S. Thank you. Because that looks like goads. All right, let's do at least like, one or two more. We're almost there. You go. There's a whole thing. So Illa, Cum, Agamemnon. Illa sure looks like it's going to be all by itself, meaning it doesn't have like a nominative masculine singular buddy. Spoiler. So Sadie, do you think it's just going to be that man or this man for Illa there as a subj? So Hikkakak is this and these, Illa's that. So it will be that. Good luck trying to remember that. Think of saying away from an ill person so that you would refer to them probably as that or those as opposed to this week. So that man with anyone, Agamemnon, and 1.5 kids, real quick, guys up here. Do all y'all, and hopefully 2.5 too, know that this quaff thing, when it's stuck to the end of a word, it just means and is occurring in front of it. Y'all know that? Because that was something that happened kind of towards the end of the reset. Anyway, so that man with Agamemnon and Allies Grikes, other Greeks. We hit a wall with Troyon. I don't feel like we're ready for Troyon, so let's go down to a verb. Oh, the first verb I see is Venerat from Veni Vidi Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. What tense is Venerat? Sarah, though. There's ERA. It's one of the new fangled ones that is very impressive for you guys to be able to even slightly grasp at this point, given how long it takes most students to get used to it. But the ERA. Good, awesome. So, okay, so is it going to be like came or had come? Yeah, good. So that's the whole thing with pluperfect. You see the ERA, you want to bust out that had. Where if it's just perfect, that'd be like wane it. It'd be like wane it, but almost like present. You could just say like came or like has come. Okay, so had come and then just like had come what? So now we're ready for Troy. Had come to Troy. That's actually kind of weird. So I don't blame you guys for not necessarily immediately saying to. They gloss this in the notes. It's the accusative of place toward. We usually spell it out with the preposition ad, but here they, they just tell us that there is this thing called the accusative of place toward. I don't know why we don't use it more. So an accusative can, other than being a direct object or an object of a prep, it can just be this, well, what used to be called the locative. Back in the good old days of the 40s, there was a sixth case called the locative, but we decided to just roll it up into the accusative at the Latin Council of 1984, which I was present for. Had come to Troy and had still pluperfect like Sarah saw with the first verb, and had, does anybody know what Garo means? Olena or Daniel? Yes, it is technically here. But wage is a way to do it here because look, our object is war. What do you do to war? You wage it. So it had waged. What kind of war, Elena or Caden? Ooh, Caden could totally get these.
So easy.
What kind of war? He waged a blank and blank war. Braden? Yeah, good. Long and difficult. You gotta love those Latin words that don't make us work too hard. But they are, so longest is still like first and second to clinch. Difficilus is third to clinch. It's new this chapter, whereas Facilus is easy. And say this is perfect and not pluperfect because oh gosh, say this was perfect. ERA is so distinct, but if it was just perfect, it'd be less distinct. Except it would still be distinct because, like, if you look at the verb garogesi, it's very clear that since it's switching from the R's to the S's, that it's at least one of the perfect tenses. In this case, it flew. Does anybody need any of these expanded on? Any vocab words written out? Right. Let's do truly one more. This is actually, okay, I'll wait. But it's actually the last one after this. Alyssa? Oh, my bad. That's fine.
What's
Oh, alias is others. In this case, it's others. Yeah, it's from alias, alia, alium. A mostly normal adjective that has the word genitive and dative along with words like solus and neuter and uter in chapter 9. But here it's just like a normal second, first declension style ablative plural.
Long is just long, right?
Just long, yeah. So on the next slide, I show you guys that they're declension adjectives again, just because difficilus happens to be one. But we're not going to learn third declension by staring at that slide. We're going to learn it by me like forcing y'all to do the template thing.
like until middle of February. By middle of February, yeah, we'll probably have a test at some point. There's like a 3 declension test. Like, give me all the endings, and it should be really easy, but we'll take some time on that.